Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle that beast, mortgage paperwork. Specifically, a really important rule called TRID. It's designed to do one thing: give you, the homebuyer, the upper hand.
You know that question on the screen? The answer is yes. Buying a home is complicated, or at least it used to be. Before 2015, getting a mortgage was, frankly, a mess. You were navigating this labyrinth of confusing, often conflicting forms, trying to compare loan offers. It was a total nightmare.
And then everything changed. A new rule came along and basically said, let's fix this. It took those 4 crazy documents you see on the left and boiled them down to just 2 super straightforward forms: the loan estimate and the closing disclosure. I mean, what a huge leap forward for homebuyers, right?
Yeah, know before you owe, that's the catchy nickname. The official name is a bit of a mouthful, the TILA-RESPA Integrated Disclosure Rule. We just call it TRID for short. But the whole point, the entire reason it exists, is to empower you, the homebuyer, so you know exactly what you're getting into before you sign on that dotted line.
Okay, so let's get practical. How does this actually work? We're going to walk through the whole journey, right from the beginning, starting with the very first document you'll get after you apply for a loan.
So, the second you give a lender these 6 specific pieces of information, your name, income, social security number, the property address, its estimated value, and how much you want to borrow, that's it. You've officially started the TRID process. A timer begins and your lender has just 3 business days to get you your loan estimate. The clock is officially ticking.
Think of this loan estimate like a detailed, standardized quote from a car mechanic, you know? It's not the final bill, but it gives you a super clear breakdown of every single expected cost. And here's the best part. Because the format is the same for every single lender, you can finally compare offers side by side, apples to apples. This alone could save you thousands of dollars.
But here's where TRID gets really powerful. See, it doesn't just give you an estimate and say, good luck. No. It sets very firm rules on how much that initial quote can actually change by the time you get to the closing table.
And this is all controlled by a concept called tolerances. It sounds technical, but just think of them as legal guardrails. They put a limit on how much certain costs can go up. And they're broken down into 3 main buckets, each giving you a different level of protection.
This table really lays it all out. Look at that first column, zero tolerance. These are fees the lender controls, like their own origination fee. These costs cannot go up, not by a penny, period. Then you've got the 10% tolerance bucket. This is for things like government recording fees. They have a little bit of wiggle room. And finally, the no tolerance limit column. Now this is for services you shop for, like your own hazard insurance. The cost can change, sure, but that's because you are in the driver's seat, choosing the provider and the price.
And just so you know how seriously regulators take this, if a lender knowingly violates these TRID rules, they can face a penalty of up to $1 million. Yeah, that's a pretty powerful reason for them to get their numbers right, don't you think?
All right, let's jump ahead. You found the perfect house, the loan is approved, it's almost time to get the keys. This is the final stage, and it's where the second major TRID document shows up, the closing disclosure.
Let's go back to that car mechanic analogy. If the loan estimate was the quote, well, the closing disclosure is the final itemized bill. This document lays out all the final, locked-in numbers for your loan. Everything. Your interest rate, your closing costs. It tells you exactly how much money you need to have ready for closing day. Okay, and this next part is maybe the most important rule of all. Your lender must, they are legally required to, give you this closing disclosure at least 3 full business days before you're scheduled to close. That's not a suggestion, it's the law. And this 3-day window, that is your power. It's not just a waiting period. This is your time to sit down, take a breath, and go over every single line item. Compare it side by side with your original loan estimate. If something looks different, you now have time to ask questions and get answers. The whole point is to make sure you're never rushed at the closing table, pressured into signing something you don't fully get.
So, let's wrap this up by recapping the key protections TRID gives you, the homebuyer.
First, you get standardized forms so you can actually compare offers and shop around. Second, you get those strict limits, the tolerances, so your costs can't suddenly skyrocket. Third, you get that mandatory 3-day review period to go over everything without pressure. And maybe most importantly, it gives you the power to ask questions and solve problems before you sign, not after.
So, by transforming what was once a mountain of confusing paperwork into a clear, predictable roadmap, TRID really gives you the confidence you need to handle one of the biggest financial moves you'll ever make. It puts the power back in your hands, so you can truly know before you owe.